Let's get back to pokies. Now, we've had months of debate in New South Wales. The government's now got its controversial poker machine reforms. I wouldn't call them controversial. I'd say they're reasonably lame through Cabinet. One of the shake-ups to gambling in quite some time, all pokies now will go cashless. But have a guess what? They're not going to all be cashless until 2028. This is 2023. Joining me now is veteran independent campaigner on the issue of gambling and poker machines, Tasmanian Independent MP Andrew Wilkie. We've not always agreed on things, Andrew, but I think we could agree that this is a pretty lame effort. 2028, why would we have to wait that long?
Yeah, well, g'day, Steve. Look, the timeline is disappointing. We're introducing cashless pre-commitment cards for poker machines in Tasmania, and they're going to be rolled out in 2 years. I mean, sure, we've got a lot less machines in Tasmania, but New South Wales have got a lot more resources. So I would like to see it done more quickly. But I do want to give Dominic Perrottet credit, though. While the settings, need to be improved, the fact is that the introduction of cashless poker machine gambling in New South Wales, cards with a pre-commitment function, it will actually be the biggest shake-up in poker machine policy in this country since poker machines were legalised in the 1950s. So, on balance, I think it's to be applauded, and I've got to say it's also consistent with a lot of good advice. Way back in 2010, the Productivity Commission looked into gambling in some details, and it recommended card-based play with a pre-commitment function. Just last year in New South Wales, the Crime Commission took a deep dive into the issue of dirty money and money laundering, and its number one recommendation is the introduction of card-based play with cashless as a way to crack down on the money laundering in that state. So, look, I'm celebrating the wins because this is a darn sight more than we had a little while ago.
You were very big on money laundering, and I think you're spot on with that. I happened to last week be in Cobram Barooga at one of the biggest clubs on the River Murray, the Sporties Club there. I mean, I spoke to the leadership of that organisation, and they said, look, we've got a whole bunch of people who like to put a little bit of money through the poker machines from time to time, and they're just simply not going to and not be willing to sign up to give people their details to get a cashless card. So are we hammering those people who use poker machines, and I never play them, hammering people who use poker machine for some innocent entertainment to try and catch these crooks who are putting money through these things?
Well, the interesting part of the answer there, Steve, is that most of these people already have a card in their wallet. They've mostly all got the loyalty cards issued by the various clubs. So it's unremarkable to expect someone to have a card for play. And look, you look at the experience overseas. Norway, Sweden, they've both got mandatory pre-commitment cards, and they were controversial when they were first suggested, but they've rolled out fine, and people are using them. And people who want to have a little flutter, they can get on and have a little flutter. And except that there will be this particular card, there will be no impact on what I'll call recreational gamblers as opposed to gambling addicts. And maybe we all should just make a little bit more effort and go to the trouble of having a card so gambling addicts are better protected. Let's not forget, Steve, and this is a conservative figure, about 40% of the money that's lost on New South Wales poker machines is lost by people with a gambling addiction. We've got to go to the effort to try and help these people and to diminish the possibility of new people becoming gambling addicts. The human dimension of this issue is huge. It's not just a New South Wales state election policy debate. It's one side of politics, at least for now, Dominic Perrottet and his government, looking for ways to reduce gambling addiction. And this will, a card-based play with a pre-commitment function, there is no doubt it will reduce gambling addiction, just as cashless play will significantly allow authorities to keep track of suspicious money movements, and in doing so, reduce the amount of dirty money going through poker machines. Let's not forget that the Crime Commission last year found that over $1 billion of dirty money goes through New South Wales poker machines every year. And an unknown amount, but it's assumed to be a very large amount of money is being laundered through those machines. Unless we implement strong reforms, then nothing will change, and that will continue, into the never.
Well, speaking of strong reforms, are you disappointed that when you consider New South Wales has got 86,000 machines, second only to Las Vegas in the world, that there's not more of a buyback plan by the Perrottet government to actually get some of these machines back out of the system?
Oh, for sure, Steve. There's about 180,000 machines in Australia, about half of them are in New South Wales, and people are talking about 2,000 machines. I mean, this is just a nonsense, and chances are it'll be the less profitable machines in the less profitable venues that'll be taken out of service. And I heard when you're talking to Andrew Cannell a little while ago, figures like 10,000. I mean, that's the sort of order of magnitude we should be talking about. But look, if we're not going to reduce the number of machines, then let's put harm minimisation features on the machines that we've got, make them safer, and in particular so that people can set a limit. As has already been identified this afternoon, you go to your online app and you can set your daily limit. And that's how it should be. And when you reach your daily limit with whatever company you're with, you cut out of that app or that gambling with that company for the rest of the day. Mind you, room to improve that as well. I'd actually link all the Australian service providers in real time so that when you hit your daily limit on your phone, you're blocked from all of the Australian gambling companies. But so we accept that with our device and with our online gambling. Surely we should have a similar arrangement where people can set a daily limit. And let's face it, even a gambling addict, before they go to the venue, they'll set a sensible limit. I mean, no one, not even a gambling addict, says, okay, tonight I'm going to go to the pub or the club and I'm going to lose my whole pay packet or my whole pension. No one does that. They all say, okay, tonight's different. Tonight I'm going to go to the venue and I'm going to just have a little flutter. I'm going to be responsible for the first time in years. I'm going to walk out. But because they get there, they get in the zone, they lose a lot. The point being, if people are allowed to set their own limits before they enter the binge, the gambling zone, they'll probably set a pretty good limit, a pretty sensible limit. And with this card that Dominic Perrottet and his cabinet now have agreed to roll out, they'll be able to set that limit and importantly be able to self-exclude. You can set a limit of 0. And I think I heard today it's going to be 7 days before you can change that limit. Well, if tonight, might have had a couple of drinks and you think I might go down to the pub, but I've self-excluded, well, that self-exclusion will be enforced with such a card.
Just in a word, should New South Wales Labor unequivocally support these changes?
Oh, look, I'm really disappointed with Chris Minns, and what we're seeing in New South Wales at the moment is the way some politicians are captive to the power of the poker machine industry. What Mr Minns is proposing, a little bit of tinkering here, a little bit of tinkering there, that's all it is tinkering around the edges. I say to Chris Minns, this is a fundamental test of your character. You either get on board with Dominic Perrottet's cashless gambling card, you either get on board or you get out of the way. And I am in no doubt that when voters in New South Wales go to the state election and they pass judgment on the Liberal Party versus the Labor Party, this will be a vote changer for some voters because it's more than just gambling reform. It's a character test of the Labor Party in New South Wales, which has long had a track record of being in the back pocket of the poker machine industry.
Andrew Wilkie, great to catch up. Thank you very much for talking to us.